I'm David Coombes, Professor Emeritus of European Studies at the University of Limerick in Ireland, which means I'm retired. And I'm as a visiting professor. I'm teaching a course currently on under the title The Reconstruction of the State in Central and Eastern Europe. But I also teach another course which is called The Foundations of European Union. And I'm a specialist in European integration as well as in political science and comparative politics, more particularly public administration. What is special about the institute here in Coombes, the European University Institute? I think what's special about it is that there's two or three things. One is that it actually, first of all, most obviously, is international. That it brings together students from different nationalities in Europe and elsewhere, and that there are other programs that do that. So it's not unique in that regard, but it's unusual because it's not just that the students come as visitors. The whole group is an international group, and so the students are all equal. There aren't home students and visiting students. They're all students together, and so it's a very, very good way of people working across different cultures and learning how to work with people from different cultures, which is so vital in the modern world, but is not so easy to achieve in established universities. And that leads to the second point that's special, is that it's outside the normal academic framework. And therefore it's possible to have discussions, of course, with students who are more advanced, which are not bound so much by the conventional disciplines. Most of the students have studied in the more conventional disciplines, and now they can apply that learning more to broader issues and also deeper issues, so that they are able to go beyond the disciplines they've studied and include other disciplines. And I think that kind of approach is very necessary. After all, what leads to new ideas is when people have the possibility to look at things from a different perspective. So you have a different perspective from the point of view of the international outlook and a different perspective from the point of view of the interdisciplinary outlook. The really third thing is that Coombes is a very special kind of place. The environment is very special. It's a very beautiful medieval town, a little bit like medieval university town, and so it creates a little bit of that idea of the medieval university, a little bit of that atmosphere. So I think these are the three things I would emphasize. The students, I always say to Professor Misselwitz and Jensen, who set up the course, how do they manage to find such interesting students? Because it's not very easy. I know, because I designed and directed similar master's program in Ireland and also in Britain. And I know how very difficult it is to attract students, to attract high enough quality students who are interested to such a course, to such a program. I don't know what the answer. They don't really give me an answer of how they do it, but they do it somehow. That they manage, and I think it is because there are students who are attracted by these special qualities which I mentioned in answer to your previous question. The idea of the course is to look at, to try to get a deeper, better understanding of why we treat the states that were previously under rule by a communist party in Central and Eastern Europe and the former USSR, but more particularly in Central and Eastern Europe, why we treat them as special and why we consider them to be in a process of transition. What exactly is the nature of that transition, and why so much emphasis on the construction of new states. What are the reasons for this? And is it necessarily the approach that was, it's not quite the same as the approach that was intended by those who were so-called dissidents that provoked the change of regime in the 1980s. in the course, I bring in some of my own personal experience working for the United Nations Development Programme, for the European Commission and the World Bank in different former communist countries, particularly in relation to the reform of public administration. But we're also concerned with the influence of international organisations and of the European Union on the nature of on government in these countries, and whether it is, we try to look critically at that, and broadly speaking ask, why is it that all the influence seems to come from outside on Central and Eastern Europe, rather than Central and Eastern Europe being thought of as having something to give to the rest of the world? That we try to move the emphasis more to find out what can Central and Eastern Europe give rather than take all the time. So that broadly is a summary of the course.